Hello, I'm on episode number 445 of the TEW 2020 Challenge Run. This is going to be Raw for week 3 of November 2023, and it's the go-home show for Survivor Series this Sunday. And yeah, it's going to be the main evented by a sort of preview of sorts of Survivor Series. There's going to be a 6-man tag team match as all the members of the New Day taking on Imperium in 6-man tag team action ahead of Survivor Series, where it will be Imperium, Drew McIntyre and Christian taking on Cody Rhodes, the New Day, and a 5th member. We also have Grayson Waller versus Randy Orton. We also have Otis versus Tyler Breeze, a contract signing for the Liberty title match, and a whole lot more. So without further ado though, let's jump straight into tonight's show here in Montreal. AJ Lee opens up the show. That's a one we'd normally see out here at the start of the show because she is, challenging Rhea Ripley, TEW Women's Championship at Survivor Saturday. This one is a Saturday, and it's not called Survivor Series Sunday, so it shouldn't be a problem having it on Saturday. Yeah, but she comes out and she goes, Rhea Ripley, she thinks she's so dominant. She thinks she's the most sick and twisted woman here in this division. Well, she's only that way because she never met me. Okay, now Rhea, she comes out here and she dominates Sasha Banks, she dominates Bayley, she dominates Charlotte, she dominates Becky, she dominates every single person she steps into the ring with. But not me. Not see, don't let my size fool you. A lot of people look at me and they think I'm not as sick and twisted as Rhea Ripley, but I can go crazy places that Rhea Ripley can't go. And if you look at me as the underdog against Rhea Ripley, you must not know a damn thing about me. Okay. So Rhea, here's your warning, underestimate me if you must, because it's Survivor Series. You're going to be in for the fight of your life, because you're going to be in there not for somebody that can out-strengthen you and go pound for pound with you, but against somebody who can go mind to mind with a sick individual like yourself, and I think that is more terrifying than being able to out-muscle mommy. Rhea comes out. She goes, AJ, a lot of my generation of women my age, you inspired them to get into this industry. Got girls like Roxy Perez, and you've got girls like Cora Jade and all these other women who broke into the business because of you. I mean, that's not too dissimilar from my story, AJ, because I grew up watching you, and I knew that seeing you, I knew I had to make it to become a WWE superstar as well. But not because I saw you as an inspiration, AJ, because I saw you and I pitied you, and I thought, if this girl can make it to the top in WWE, nobody's going to be able to stop a woman like me. Okay, and Survivor Series, all these years later, I'm going to prove myself right when I put you down. And you think you can hang with my brain, but your little mind games ain't going to work on me, AJ. I'm impervious toward that crap. But you're not impervious to getting your ass beat in the middle of this ring. 1, 2, 3. And she sort of just stops. She goes, well, if those are the games you really want to play, I don't mind not waiting till Toronto to beat your ass, Rhea. I don't mind getting the fight underway here in Montreal. And Rhea's like, yeah, good luck with that. I'll see you at Survivor Series. And then as Rhea goes to leave, AJ jumps on her back, starts wailing on her. AJ actually does take Rhea down to the outside. And then she does a dive on the outside, takes Rhea down as well. And then security's trying to pull them apart, but they're still trying to get at each other. Just a hot way to open Raw. You always open up Raw with a hot, brawl. It always gets you a good... most of the times when, less so recently, but, a couple of years ago, when it was, every single time I was always like, oh my god, this opening to Raw is sick. It was always a wild brawl. So, we're starting one here on the go-home show to Survivor Series. They will eventually, obviously, escort to the back, but before then, we see Christian pulling up. He sort of does get a pop, because it is Canada. He goes, Montreal, the pit stain of Canada. Idolizing an idiot like Bret Hart. Okay? Because You know, I know about Brett and his family. A lot of people close to him, you know, they're no longer with us. Just like Cody, you know, but it's a lot like Cody in that regard. And now apparently Cody's got to try to find a person on his team that can hang with Christian in Canada. I don't think that person exists, buddy, so you're going to be sadly disappointed when my boys Imperium pick up the win later on tonight, ahead of us dominating your group at Survivor Series. Speaking of Survivor Series, I believe the first match of the night is, an 86 rated match. Randy Orton, I believe it's his first match since SummerSlam. He faces Grayson Waller. You know, last week on the Grayson Waller Effect, Randy revealed as the 4th member of Team Raw. There is still a spot open on that team. And we're going to find out more about that later on tonight. But Randy does beat Grayson Waller 15-22 with an RKO. 86 for Randy, 75 for Grayson Waller. And an 86 for the match. So, you know, the same that Randy scored. But it's going to be Randy Orton, AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Rey Mysterio, and a 5th member of Team Raw, taking on Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Ilya Dragunov, Swerve Scott, and Trick Williams of SmackDown. You know, brand supremacy. If you survive, you get a title match of your choosing. Some high-ish stakes heading into that one. Speaking of high-stakes Survivor Series matches, Kathy Kelly's backstage and her guest is Sheamus, the Intercontinental Champion. And she goes, Sheamus, you know, last week you and Cody, you know, Dijak and Christian managed to get the one up on you. And Sheamus goes, you know, Kathy, it's very typical of Christian and Dijak to cheat and, you know, get that victory with Imperium and the rest of their boys by their side. But the fact of the matter is, Kathy, is that Dijak, he did pin me last week. Now I'm a fighting champion, you know, since I won this Intercontinental Championship, I've been defending it almost weekly here on Raw. And Dijak, I mean, I want to admit it, Kathy, he puts himself at the top of the line for a new title shot. I saw the New Day and Cody walk in. And Cody goes, last week didn't quite go the way we planned it to go. But I know that eats you up, Sheamus. I've known you for years. I know the fire that's living inside you. You want to get revenge. And you want to kick Christian's head in. You want to kick Imperium's head in. And Dijak and Drew McIntyre and all of them. So how about it, Sheamus? We spoke our invitation for you to be the 5th member of Team Cody Rhodes and New Day at Survivor Series. Sheamus goes, look, fella, I appreciate the offer, but I've got Dijak business to take care of. And Dijak, last I checked, he weren't on that Survivor Series team that you're going up against. So here's my official challenge, Kathy. I challenge Dijak 1-on-1 for the Intercontinental Championship at Survivor Series. And Cody, you know, I'm not going to leave you hanging with nothing. I know an old friend you can give a call. I'm sure you'd be eager to join the team. Cody just looks confused. He goes, who are you talking about? Sheamus just walks off. He goes, you know who I'm talking about, fella. Think about it. Then that interview, you know, we linger on Cody's face as he's thinking about it. The New Day behind him also thinking. When we just hear a commotion from off screen, Kathy Kelly runs after. She goes, what's happening over here? AJ and Rhea continue their fight in the backstage area, you know. You get that sound of all their metal poles falling on the floor. It's chaos. They're trying to get at each other and security has to again break them up. 84. That's fine. Sure. Yes, it's Rouge and Santos Escobar, 2/3 of the new Cruiserweight Trios champions, and 2/5 of LA Extreme, if you don't count Conan, who's not here most weeks because he's booking AAA. They defeat DIY in tag team action. 16 minutes 18. Santos pins Tommaso Ciampa with a Phantom Driver following, it says interference by Aleister Black, but in reality it's just a light thing. You know, the lights flick on and off, and that is enough to, you know, make everyone go, what the fuck's going on? Allowing Santos to hit the Phantom Driver and pick up the win. And 73 for Ciampa, 86 for Gargano, 71 for Santos, and 86 for Rouge. Santos and Ruca, along with Jorge Santana, do have their first trios titles defense on Velocity this week when they take on the Mexicools, so that should be fun. But after the match, Alistair appears on the Titantron. He says, "Johnny, Tommaso, I know you're thinking last week that my savage attack of you was out of nowhere, but I know that it still lives on deep inside your soul, Johnny and Tommaso, that things between us, they were never resolved. And now you two, you're back together. Me and my right-hand monster, Brody King, we've never been better. So here's what I'm proposing next week. I'll absolve you of your sins one at a time. Starting, of course, with you, Johnny. 'Cause I know where you really want to be. It's not by Ciampa's side. 'Cause Johnny, you want to be with your family. You know, your wife, your child. But you can't show your face around there because of the man you've become in this tag team. But it's okay. 'Cause I'll set you free. I'll set both of you free. And you will fade to black. So yeah, another match set for next week. Not another match. First match set for next week. Johnny Gargano and Aleister Black one-on-one, you know, should be a banger. They had an absolute fucking banger in NXT, so yeah, should be just as good, this one. I'd definitely click next segment. There we go. Speaking of next week, Sasha and Bayley bump into each other backstage. And Sasha goes, you know, Bayley, last week we worked together to shut up Ariana Grace. It was a miracle. But I want to make one thing very clear. Don't think just because I teamed with you that we're good here. Babe, but no, I understand that we're not good here. In fact, I'm not good with you, Sasha. But makes you think that we're going to come back and immediately be best friends again, huh? You know what, you big idiot? How about instead of teaming up with you next week, I fight you next week, one-on-one, me and you, just like old time's sake. And Sasha goes, great, you know, I thought you'd never ask. So yeah, Sasha Banks versus Bayley, a big match set for next week, you know. They have teamed up, I think, like 3 weeks in a row. But, you know, there's obviously still a lot of tension there, so maybe that'll blow over in a singles match for each other next week here on Raw. I'll definitely, again, click next segment. Speaking of women, then come back to the ring. Mandy Rose is in the ring. And she goes, well, you know, Toxic Attraction was my baby. Toxic Attraction was the brainchild of me. And it was so successful, you know. Back in NXT, me and Gigi and JC, we ruled that yard. But since coming out to the main roster, you know, we couldn't really find that spark. And now JC thinks she's better off without me. Honey, okay, look out, okay. I know Adam Cole may think he's cool, but he's not. And soon that Paragon stuff will wear on. As for Gigi, you know, you got nobody. You're all alone, just how you're used to it. But as for me, I'm still a winner. I'm still a star. As a matter of fact, whichever woman wants to be the first one out the back, I'll beat them right now. Kairi Sane is the woman who comes out. Haven't seen Kairi for 2 months now. She last wrestled at Unforgiven when she failed to win the Liberty Championship from Roxy. And yeah, this match is just Kairi's return. Gets a 70, doesn't go very long at all. Kairi defeats Mandy Rose in 6:51 with an insane elbow. 75 for Kairi, 69 for Mandy. I guess this is the women's portion of the show without me even realizing it. Kathy Kelly's backstage and she's with Tam Paxley and Ivy Nile. She goes, girls, you know, you must be feeling great. You know, Tatum specifically, last week you picked up one hell of an upset when you beat Charlotte Flair in singles action. She goes, yeah, I don't really know how that happened, if I'm being honest, you know. Throw me in the ring with Charlotte Flair and I thought, you know, I was gonna lose. But, you know, maybe times are changing around here in the women's division. Maybe the era of Charlotte is coming to an end because she's had it rough lately. And maybe the era of this new generation of women, it's in full swing. So when Shayna and Carmella walk in, and Shayna goes, well, I hardly count as new generation of women, but I could whip your ass no matter what generation you're in, and now you're out here running your mouth again, you're the world's hottest tag team. So how about me and my partner Carmella against you two in tag team action later on tonight? And Tatum goes, yeah, 2 wins in 2 weeks, that's fine by me, Shayna. That's fine by me. Then see the Maximum Male models backstage. They're in the middle of a photo shoot, but, nobody's happy. Ellen Prince, he still is the 24/7 champion, by the way, so he is posing with the belt. And Tanya just pauses, and she goes, what's wrong? This is normally... These photo shoots are normally pristine. What, are you still thinking about my brother showing up again? Listen, he's nothing to do with this business anymore. He signed all the documents over to me. It's almost like I didn't even want him in part of it anyway, okay? And he certainly didn't want to be a part of the whole thing because he was in jail. He only used this as a way to get out. Well, not jail, a mental asylum, which is basically the same thing, I guess. Because he's locked up, basically. But now they've let my cuckoo insane brother, I tried my hardest to fix him. It's not going to work. So now I'm all about fixing you. Fixing these atrocious outfits. And Brooks, letting that fat slob Otis pin you at Cyber Sunday. What are you thinking? I plucked you away from him because you're better than him. So it's time for Maximum Male models to start pulling their weight around here. Then he should head into Tyler Breeze's match, which gets an 80. Holy shit, that's really good, actually. I was expecting like a 70 odd because I thought... My mind, I know this isn't the case, but my mind is immediately tailored to anything less than 10 minutes gets the 70 rated penalization. That's definitely not true, but that's just the way my mind works whenever I book a match on TV. Breeze does cheat again to beat Otis. Maybe a low blow or something, or an exposed turnbuckle, because I don't understand how he'd be able to unpretty Otis clean. I'm trying to picture it in my head and I can't really see it because he's Tyler Breeze and he's Otis. So, but yeah, he does win. So that's the second win since he returned here at technically third actually because he beat who did he beat last week? Andy Ogogo, yeah, and then he won at the pay-per-view. So he is technically 3-0 since returning, but we only count 2 basically because he didn't get the pin in the 8-person tag. 81 for Otis, 72 for Tyler Breeze. And yeah. Then see Batista, he's with the rest of Team Raw. They're just, chilling in his locker room. He goes, boys, I just received word that, Adam Pearce has invited me and the rest of Team SmackDown, or Team Raw even, to SmackDown this week in Toronto, just a day before Survivor Series where I will reveal who the final member of Team Raw is. So yeah, we're going to find out who the member of Team Raw is on SmackDown, in Toronto, the go-home show before Survivor Series. Batista's kept his card close to his chest for this whole final member of the team thing. Who's he going to pick? We find out when him and the rest of Team Raw have all been invited to SmackDown on Friday. I guess it's just easier to accept that they're coming in than it is to try and stop them like, every year when the Raw crew comes out of the crowd. We're trying to avoid that spot, even though I just said that Big Brawls were great. But this is slightly different. We then cut to the anime village. It's Dio, Saray, Vega, Reggie, and Carlin still looking for Manny when Sensei rocks up. Oh, I finally made it. And Dio goes, well, Sensei, what took you so long? And I go, well, champ things. I had to defend my belt on Velocity. Speaking of which, did you know you two have not one but 2 title matches this week? So you might want to get a hurry back, to get trained for those. And Dio goes, oh, right, yeah, against Ichiban on ECW and then against Queendom on SmackDown, 2 tough matches as well, girls. Leave this to us. We'll find Manny. We don't know where Manny ran off to, but I know he's around here somewhere. I can sense him. Sensei goes, Selena and Zaray, they need moral support, from a fellow champion. Us champs have got to stick together. I'll go support them in their championship endeavors, and when I come back, Dio, I expect Manny found and safe. And Dio goes, hey, that's a lot of pressure, Sensei. You know, I don't know if I can get him found in just a week. You never know where he may be. And then Sensei walks off with Zelina and Saray when Manny sort of just sighs as he keeps putting up his Manny posters. I think I said Manny size. No, Dio size. But yeah, Manny, since he followed off some weird person in a hood like 2 weeks ago, nobody can seem to find him. But the problem with being in the anime and being a champion is that you often get pulled away from, for lack of a better term, cum business than you do for defending a title. '76. Team Impact and Ivy Nile tag team well established at this point. They pick up a win over Carmella and Shayna Baszler. Tatum picks up another pin. She pins Carmella with a Pactplex in 8:57. 74 for Tatum Paxley, 70 for Ivy Nile, 62 for Carmella, and a 79 for Shayna Baszler. And yeah, another big win. First it was Charlotte. Not quite as big as beating Charlotte is pinning Carmella, but you know, still a decently sized win for the former women's tag team champions here. We then see Dom and the rest of LA Extreme. And he goes, you know, great work today, boys. You know, you got those Mexicools on Velocity. They're light work. We can afford to wrestle tonight and on Friday because they're a bunch of has-beens or never-wases in this business. You know, a lot of them were friends with my deadbeat dad breaking into the industry. You know, the boys from last week, from back home, you know, they say congrats on winning those championships and defending them, and good luck against your next challenge against the Mexicools. As for me, I'm going to continue my promise. A promise I made to the most important man in my life, not my father, myself, of course, that I would go on to become WWE champion. And that starts in 2024. Then head back to the contract signing. Kevin Patrick, he's our sports analyst, I believe I've been calling them. Jade's in there, Roxy's in there. He says, it's one of the biggest matches in the history of the women's division as the champion Roxy Perez defends her championship in a match 3 months in the making against Jade Cargill at Survivor Series in Toronto this Saturday. And Jade goes, I don't even understand why we're having this match. I went undefeated in an entire tournament, okay? So that doesn't mean anything that I'm standing here across from Roxy, because if I can beat every single person I stepped into the ring with in that tournament, then this little girl in front of me here is no joke. You see, Roxy, she may have scratched and clawed her way to the top, but the way I see it is, someone's got to boot you down once you get to the top, and I am going to be that bitch, because I was born to be at the top. You can climb and scratch and claw your way to the top all you want to be. All I've got to do is step. And that championship, you, Roxy, are that step. So it's Survivor Series. You're going to be hearing a new Liberty champion in town. And it's going to be me. The woman who's made the greatest impact here in WWE in such a short amount of time. The winner of the 2023 Mae Young Classic. Jade Cargill. And then Roxy, she goes to speak again when we hear another commotion from the ramp. AJ and Rhea, they're still fighting. You know, they brawl out. They do the thing where they brawl out from the back through the curtain onto the ramp. And they just keep fighting. And they end up getting into the ring. You know, bumping into Jade and Roxy. And we get, I've just got to see the word from Batista that we will see a tag team match up next. Jade Cargill teams with AJ Lee to take on Rhea Ripley and Roxy Perez in tag team action. Some weird mismatch teams there, but it's champions against challengers, really, is the way I've laid it out. And that match gets a 74. Jade needs, protecting. And Rhea and Roxy have no chemistry, which are honestly understandable. But yeah, it is the challengers who pick up the win. Jade Cargill does what she said she was going to do on Saturday at Survivor Series. She does it tonight. She pins Roxy Perez in 11 minutes and 50. 63 for Roxy, 75 for Rhea, 48 for Jay, and 82 for AJ Lee. And yeah, those are our two women's matches for Survivor Series. And yeah, big win tonight for Jade Cargill and AJ Lee. Jade Cargill remains undefeated, and I do imagine that Rhea is not best pleased that Roxy took the pin here for her team. Next week, though, we only know 2 matches for that show. And they're both really big historical NXT bouts, funnily enough. The first is a singles match. Aleister Black takes on DIY's Johnny Gargano in singles action. After, last week's threat from the House of Black directed towards DIY. And a rematch of quite possibly the greatest women's match in the history of NXT, as Sasha Banks and Bayley face off one more time on next week's episode of Raw. And that's next week, though. Before then, we do have Survivor Series. I've just got 2 more graphics to go over there. The first being confirmed, requested at the hands of Sheamus, and they're confirmed by Batista, is that Sheamus will defend his Intercontinental Championship on the show against Christian's right hand of justice, Dijak. On top of that, speaking of Christian, he's going to be a part of this Survivor Series tag team match with himself, Imperium, and Drew McIntyre, facing up against Cody Rhodes, all members of the New Day, and a 5th member that has yet to be revealed, but time's running low. And speaking of, we then get to Gorilla. New Day preparing for their 6-man tag main event, and Cody walks up. And they all look at him and go, "Any luck?" And he just laughs and goes, "He's on his way. Good luck tonight, boys." The New Day theme comes on, and then they go out for their 6-man tag main event, which gets us an 88. Could have probably been better than that, but, I can't really turn 88 down. And this match goes for 23 minutes 11 seconds. But in the end, it is the New Day who end up picking up the win, when Giovanni Vinci eats a midnight hour. 87 for Vinci, 88 for Kaiser, 97 for Gunther, 91 for Xavier Woods, 80 for Kofi Kingston, and 88 for Big E. After the match, though, they fight. Cody runs out, but Drew McIntyre's also out there, and Christian's out there, and the heels end up being they outnumbered when Christian comes out. Christian is the equalizer, basically, and he grabs the mic and he goes, "Cody, you've had all day, but still you've got nobody by your side. What, couldn't find anybody great in, Montreal? I can feel that one, but it doesn't matter because you can grab any Montreal boy you want, but they won't be able to hold a candle to Toronto's favourite son. So now, beware the new dangerous alliance of Christian, Drew McIntyre, and Imperium. And good luck stopping the King of Toronto." And Cody stops. He goes, "Christian, you say that, there's not going to be many people in Toronto that are going to be better than Christian. And that may be true. You've got a lot of history in that city. Your hometown. But I can think of one person who might be better than Christian in Toronto. And who might that be? Who?
You think you know me?
On this day, I see clearly everything is come to life.
Outstorms Edge. We've not seen Edge since SummerSlam either. He's coming out and he's staring a hole through Christian. Christian looks like he's seen a fucking ghost. He thought he took care of this man. But he's back. He hands a steel chair to Cody. All 3 members of the New Day are there as well. And then all 5 of them rush in. Christian shits himself and immediately runs out through the crowd. Completely vanishing from the scene. Which then leaves, the babyface team to end up standing tall. Because they have the numbers game of Imperium and Drew McIntyre. But yeah, Edge. He's back. The final member of Team Cody even at Survivor Series. Realistically, his contract would be done by this point, but I have Christian, so, he probably would have opted to stay on for a few more months in WWE. So here we are. He's here. The Radar Superstar is going to be the final member of Team Cody Rhodes heading into Survivor Series. In a show that scores us a 91. That's pretty fine. Yeah. You know, again, most of this has already been built up, so actually this go-home show was sort of, you know, just pushing things over the line. There wasn't really anything, other than, I guess, Edge being announced as the last member of the team. Wasn't really anything super-duper crazy on this show. Especially not super crazy himself. He's on Velocity. But we do have Heat coming up next. Heat kicks off with a 66 rated tag team match. You know, a very quick episode of Heat tonight. It's going to start with the Platinum Princesses, Aaliyah and Skylar, picking up the tag team win over Symphony Fox and Stevie Turner. 35 for Symphony, 51 for Stevie Turner, 72 for Skylar, and a 49 for Aaliyah. Stevie Turner, fun fact about her, she was the NXT Women's Champion before, I think, Saturday. I think NXT held its War Games on week 2 Saturday. And Raquel is now the champion. That's where Raquel is, if you're wondering where Raquel's gone. She had nothing going on. I didn't want to just keep beating her because, you know, she is a presence. She may not be a very interesting character, but that's my job to give her one. So in the meantime, before I do that, she is now back down NXT. And I guess they put the belt on her. Which is weird because she never actually won it in this timeline. Because I called her up like right away before she won it in real life. 73, Chelsea Green and Aoi Maikawa, a bit of EC dub action. It is Aoi Maikawa who wins with a Brazilian kick at 11:40. 80 for Aoi, 51 for Chelsea. Not much else to that one. Tag team match. Nightlight really needed a win. Because Naomi's at the point where she's like the most credible loser I have when I want a heel to win a match. So they really need a bounce back win. And they do so over Sol Ruca and Zoe Stark, who I think are still yet to win their first match as a tag team. But we're still in the feeling out process, you know. They're more of a project team than a push immediately team. And then our main event is an 80. Maki is, right, she's been here for like 3.5 years now. She's been in this save for as long as it's existed. So I shouldn't be shocked they finally got her set up as a star in the game, but they're telling me she's a star now. So it's time to really test her in, you know, I guess some higher profile matches. So as high profile as the main event of Heat can be, we're going to see how she can run with it. And she actually does a pretty good job, her and Indy Hartwell. Maki does win in 13-13 with a diving headbutt. 82 for Maki, 67 for Indy. And that ends Heat. That ends episode 445. What matters more is what you thought of the show, so do let me know what you thought in the comments below. And we have 2 more shows left before Survivor Series, the next being ECW, which will see, you know, a face Roman Reigns, Warden, and Dolph Ziggler, among other things. I think ECW tag team titles are on the line, as Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly face the Hurt Business. Women's tag team titles are on the line as Ichiban challenge My Wrestling Academia, and a whole lot more. See you then.